Food science is what we like to say a multidisciplinary study of all the sciences as it pertains to food and the production of food. So if you take chemistry, microbiology, engineering, physics, psychology, any of those sciences, they all pertain in one way or another to food and food production. So our students end up studying a lot of these sciences and hopefully understanding them as they apply to food. Food science graduates can enter multiple careers. Primarily, we prepare our students to enter the food industry. But the food industry is so large and so varied that they can be quality assurance, they can be product development, they can be food regulatory, food law, they can be new product development. There's a variety of opportunities within a single food company that students, graduates from the food science program could enter into. They can also use that as preparation for pre-med, pre-dent, pre-professional programs. We have students that go into that because of the heavy science emphasis, as well as graduate school. So it's very broad-based as to what students could enter into. Some of the skills that you would develop, we like to think of food scientists as jack of all trades. So they're trained in all of the sciences that we talked about, the microbiology, the chemistry, so their understanding of those areas, they're not necessarily experts as we might expect with someone who has a degree in chemistry or a degree in microbiology, but they're very conversant in those areas. They're able to understand what those areas are and how they apply to food science, and they become kind of the go-to person in the industry that you would ask those types of questions as they pertain to food and food production. Well, I think I'd go back again to the multidisciplinary approach that we have. The food industry is a great employer for graduates of all of these different majors, but what our majors have is the application. They are able to see the microbiology, the chemistry, the other aspects of these sciences as they apply to food and food production. So I think it's the application is what makes us unique. Is we're in applied science, we do a lot of hands-on training with our students. Now the differences between food science and nutrition or dietetics would be we take the food from farm to fork or from production to consumption, whereas nutrition would be looking at food as we consume it. So a nutritionist would be more interested in what if we don't have a certain food or we have too much of a certain food or a food component, what happens then to our bodies? Whereas the food scientist is looking more at what tastes good, what looks good, what is possible to sell on the market. And nutrition is an element of food science that's important to consider. Dietitians are really what we would maybe term clinical nutritionists. So they are more from a nutrition background that understands food and food science and then works with the individual on a clinical type setting or a one-to-one type setting. When a student comes in and talks to me about food science, I usually ask them two questions. If they love food, which is usually a yes because most of us eat on a regular basis, and two, do you like science? If you like food and you like science, I can pretty much guarantee you'll like food science. Most of our students love food science. We want you to love your major. We want you to love what you're doing and understand what your potential is and where you can go with a degree in food science. And that includes job opportunities. What are the opportunities, not just locally, but nationwide and worldwide? There's a need for food scientists everywhere. because everybody eats, everybody will continue to eat, and so job security, the fun aspect of food and food science is something that we love to have our students take part in. We get our students very involved in their studies. We have hands-on learning opportunities. Most of our courses have a lab associated with them. We do a lot of work with local food industries, and in doing that, they get internship opportunities. They get to see what they're going to be doing here now as a student that will follow through in employment and throughout their careers.